Scottplex City.
Marks.
Scottplex City.
Marks.
Scottplex City.
Marks.
Scottplex City.
Marks.
All right, here we are. Welcome back. Another edition, Scottplex City. Scotty B's there. I'm Scott Hank, and little programming note for next week. The show may drop a little bit later in the week next week, but
well, not no may about it.
Yeah, it's gonna drop.
It's gonna drop probably Friday.
Yeah, so we'll put out video and audio in the same day. Video will come later on that night. So next week it'll be a late weekend, but it'll be here just in time for you to enjoy throughout the weekend. Alright, so we'll get things kicking off with combining Raw and Hell in a Cell and making our match predictions for that, since that's all in one and Hell in a Cell is coming up this weekend. Then after we do all that, we'll get into SmackDown talk. Well, we'll start things off right now, though, with Vince McMahon allegedly steaming a little bit over the reaction of over the promo.
The Paul Heyman, Brock Lesnar promo. Apparently, from what you could tell from that promo, they were pushing hard that basically Brock was going to be the heel in this whole thing, and Goldberg is supposed to be cheered. So I think when Heyman kept on doing the whole Goldberg thing, he wanted the whole crowd to start doing it. For one thing, they're in Brock Lesnar's, not so much his hometown, but he went to school at the University of Minnesota. They were in Minnesota. Yeah. It's pretty much a hometown crowd. They're not going to start cheering on Goldberg as much. They're going to be so for Lesnar. So that makes no sense that they would try something like that there. It makes no sense at all. And the fact they're even doing that at all makes no sense, to me at least, because I mean, basically, wherever Lesnar goes, he gets a ton of face reaction. So why are they even trying to push this to be a face versus a heel? Just let it go and let the fans choose what they want. Because in some areas, Lesnar's probably going to get booed. Some areas, Goldberg's going to get cheered, and then vice versa. Just let it go the way it should. I just don't get that, especially in Minnesota. That was like the worst place to even try something like that.
And the way I look at it also is Goldberg, for the past couple of years, has talked a lot of crap about wrestling in general. I don't know if he still does his podcast, but when he was doing a podcast, he would always say stuff about wrestling. So it would almost be a natural introduction as a heel for him, maybe easier than kind of forcing you to like him and forcing him to be the face. It's almost like they're forcing you to like him how they kind of forced Roman Reigns down your throat. And we know that don't work. Yeah. So, like you said, let the crowd decide if they want to cheer or boo him, because honestly, it's probably going to be one of those neutral fights where everyone is getting booed and cheered. It matters what part of it's going on. It's going to be a 50-50 thing. Also, though, my big takeaway from that is that I don't think that was a good promo from Heyman.
I think the reason why is because he was trying to force, to make Lesnar a heel, and it wasn't working. The crowd was having none of it, and he had to go along with it. That's the whole thing. If he had gone over like it was supposed to, it probably would have been a decent promo.
Right.
But he was forced. His hands were tied. He had to keep on going with what was going on there. And if you notice, it kind of ended abruptly because it seemed like they still had a little more to go with it. And all of a sudden, the music started going. That's probably when Vince, quote unquote, blew a gasket and was going to have no more of this. So that's probably why it was such a bad promo, even though it probably could have been something good, but the fans were having none of it.
It was just a wrong place to try to do that promo.
Yeah.
If they went out there and he just cut a regular Brock Lesnar promo and how he's going to whoop Goldberg's ass, I bet you the crowd would have cheered more for Goldberg if he was like, oh, and Brock's going to do this to you and do that to you and do that. I think he would have got a better reaction than trying to force it down your throat. Like, you need to cheer for Goldberg.
Yeah. That's where they totally went wrong there. They shouldn't be doing that at all. Just do a whole, like you said, Brock Lesnar is going to come to Survivor Series and send you to Suplex City. And that's all they had to do, but the fact that you try to force it, it's just wrong. And the fans these days are going to have none of it.
I heard that they're definitely doing this at Survivor Series because
It's
the
happening,
numbers
because it was on WWE.com, yeah.
is that the numbers haven't been that good for Survivor Series
No,
lately.
because they've sucked the last few years. They haven't really pushed anything that was really all that great.
Do you think Brock is going to go over and we'll get round 3 at Royal Rumble?
I don't. The way this is going, I think this is Goldberg's last match, and they'll usually a lot of times they say, the last match you gotta lay down. in the
Battle
last
of the
match.
egos.
Yeah.
Here,
I see Brock winning so they can keep on pushing him up again because they're gonna give him another WWE title, if not so much maybe the title, but they'll definitely give him another title shot, whether it be against Kevin Owens or whoever has the Universal title or whatever.
If Brock Lesnar loses to Goldberg, what does that say about the rest of the locker room? That's how I look at it. It's like, so nobody in the locker room, everybody from Roman Reigns to Rusev to whoever, Big Show, you know what I mean? Nobody can beat Brock Lesnar except somebody that hasn't wrestled in like 10 years and he's not even a part-timer. Yeah. He can beat Brock Lesnar.
That's why
Brock
Goldberg
Lesnar goes to the UFC
yeah.
and he wins in the UFC and he was a heavyweight champion there. If Goldberg wins, Goldberg always says, "Oh, I can't see him beating me. It don't make no sense that he would beat me." Well, here's your words need to be thrown right back at you because it makes no sense for Goldberg to go over.
Especially at this point now. I mean, Goldberg went over the first time they went against each other. 12 years later, he needs to just totally change it around, and he's got to do the job. It makes sense.
It's
totally
wrestling. It's not a real freaking fight. Like, come on. So I'm partial on this fight. I'm excited, but I'm not excited. I don't know how to describe it. It's like when it's going on and it's happening, I'm into it.
Yeah.
But then when it's not, I'm just like, I don't know. When I actually sit back and think about it, maybe I just shouldn't think about it.
I'm just excited to see exactly where they're going to go with it. Because, I mean, you think, okay, Goldberg's got to lose this match.
Got to.
But if they don't, where are they going with that? Are they, if he loses and they just kind of brush it off and then there's, Lesnar coming around again and doing his thing, then, okay, that makes no sense. It's a lot like when Lesnar first came back. Back, what was it? That was at 2012 or whatever?
About that, yeah, 2011, 2012.
And the first match he had, he lost clean to John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that made no sense. It's like you bring him back as this big beast, and John Cena wins. You gotta have him keep on being the animal that he is and just tearing everyone apart, and including Goldberg.
Unless Brock Lesnar is gonna leave the WWE after Survivor Series, I don't know his contract or what's in his contract. Unless he's gonna leave, and they're hoping that Goldberg can replace Brock Lesnar as that dominant beast on the bill. It's an easy schedule.
I mean, from what they're saying, this is going to be probably Goldberg's last match, and they're talking Goldberg going to the Hall of Fame probably next year. So, just be a one and done. That would make total sense.
Bobby Lashley, he fought in Bellator this past weekend, and
I guess he challenged Brock Lesnar,
and he did challenge Brock Lesnar. Ooh,
Lesnar would kick his ass. I think Lesnar would kick his ass.
I think Lesnar would win, but I don't think it'll be an easy one.
No.
Because
that would be
Lashley
like a 3-round fight.
He's a legitimate fighter. Yeah. He dominated this past week. But
it's Bellator.
I know it's Bellator, but like when you
I'd like to see Lashley in the UFC. Could he do the same thing? I don't think so.
I don't know if he could, but I would like to see him in the UFC. He deserves a fight in the UFC. Mm-hmm. Dana White, you should get him in the UFC, and maybe 2 years from now we can get Brock versus Lashley. I think it'd be hell.
I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, me too. I think it would be really good. I mean, if Bellator could somehow pull it off, that'd be a big thing for Bellator.
I doubt that would happen.
You need a few million, but that'd be
because Brock Lesnar wants to get paid, and that's the only way it's going to happen is in the UFC.
Where you want to get into breaking down match predictions, all that stuff? Get into
Let's
that
do
stuff.
It. Yeah.
Start to do that now. We'll cover SmackDown afterwards. SmackDown So it's all right now. A little stale.
It was a decent show. I would say out of the two shows this week, I think SmackDown was better than Raw because Raw was kind of like, okay, are you just not doing anything because of Monday Night Football or something like that?
Right.
But at the same time, SmackDown, they were up against the NBA and the first game of the World Series, and they seemed to step it up a little bit. So I mean, basically with Raw, you didn't miss much.
No.
I mean, the only thing that was really great was Jericho once again because someone stole the list of Jericho. And so basically half of the show is him looking for the list, and ended up Braun Strowman had it, and he ended up making the list because you were touching Jericho's personal property. So you know what happens when you touch Jericho's personal property? You just made the list!
He's so awesome. And it's going to be sad when Jericho disappears a little bit because he's been a huge part of it.
So good.
And I got to say, I really do like when they have those little stupid storylines within the show, like Jericho searching for his list all throughout it. I mean, it's dumb. It didn't add to anything or anything. But it was something fun. It was like a little thing within the show. And they used to do that type of stuff a lot back in the Attitude Era. And it's good to see just a little bit of extra backstage stuff. I truly enjoy that a lot. And this Jericho character right now is... Man, if we could somehow get this Jericho versus Broken Matt, I think wrestling marks' heads would explode.
That'd be crazy.
There would be like millions of dead people like that are just so excited they don't even know how to. They're just overcome with joy because that would be crazy right now. What do you think is going to? Speaking of Chris Jericho, they had the nice little triple threat match. Same outcome as always here. We still go into Hell in a Cell with it just being Kevin and Seth Rollins.
Does Jericho get involved in this match somehow?
Right.
Is he hiding underneath the ring? He's got to get involved somehow because he's been a big part of this storyline for the last few weeks now. So something tells me, some way, shape, or form, maybe they somehow break through the cage at one point and Jericho gets in, or he somehow slips underneath the ring at one point before the cage comes down. Or maybe he has got a pair of bolt cutters to open the door to get in at some point. Somehow he gets involved in the match. There's just with everything they're doing, to not have him involved would make no sense.
And the way they've been building up this tension between Jericho and Kevin, everything from who's being on the list and helping out with the fights and not being there when you should be or being there when you shouldn't be, all that type of stuff. Could we see actually Jericho turn on Kevin and cause Kevin to drop the title to Seth?
Either that or Jericho tries to help and costs Kevin Owens the match where he ends up losing the title, and then KO just totally goes off on him and takes him out, and that leads to his time away from the WWE. It could happen because seeing the fact that Rollins got totally obliterated by both of them at the end of that match on Monday gets me thinking: are we going to have a new Universal Champion now? Because you ended on a down note with Raw. Does Rollins get his revenge in the title on Sunday? It could happen.
Picking Rollins to go over.
I am right now after seeing the way that ended. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going with Rollins in that match.
All right, so another big moment will be the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match. Sasha Banks taking on Charlotte. Woo!
Woo! Charlotte Flair. They're definitely pushing the Flair now.
I didn't notice that.
It's Charlotte Flair.
This is like the first last name in the WWE in like years right now.
Especially for the women. It's always usually just one name women half the time. Her Facebook, the WWE Charlotte Facebook page changed the other day. I got a notification saying this page has been changed. The name has been changed from Charlotte to Charlotte Flair. So they're pushing the whole Flair thing again.
That's it. She wooed a little bit more. I dig it, but I liked how they were kind of building her without the Flair thing. We already knew it, but whatever. The promo that they had, the contract signing was cool, but I just didn't understand why Mick was trying to kind of talk them out of it, it felt like.
because he's basically the one who made the match and thought it should happen, and then all of a sudden, it was kind of. I love the passion that he had in that promo. It was great, but at the same time, it kind of made no sense because he made the match thinking this is gonna be great. First ever women's Hell in a Cell, and then it's basically like, okay, I want to talk you out of it because there's gonna be so much pain and suffering and blah blah blah.
And then he's not saying any of that stuff to Kevin and Rollins or anything like that. So I don't really get where that was. Like you said, great passion, all that. I really like to see that intensity from Mick. It didn't really make any sense. Maybe because
they are women that he's, saying that kind of stuff, and he doesn't want to see them get hurt, and I don't know. But I love the passion in that promo. That was probably one of the other great things about Raw was, you always expect something pretty good from Mick Foley, and that was great. It felt like, you could really feel what he was saying.
I'm excited for this match.
I am too. I really want to see them do something. I mean, you don't want to go anything crazy, 6 spots, because you don't want people to get hurt because there's been so many injuries as it is. But you want to see them do something a little crazy because you see what the guys do. I mean, if they're just going to do a regular match inside the Hell of a Cell,
someone's going up. Now, I'm not talking about on the top of it, but somebody's going to climb in the inside and jump off like monkey bar over and hang and then drop.
Drop an elbow on the Spanish announce table or something like that.
And Charlotte's been doing those big moves. She does that crazy backflip thing, so I wouldn't be surprised if
she even tries doing that off the top. I mean, that'd be stupid.
Oh, yeah, please.
Please do not do anything.
As much as I would love to see that, I don't know if I want to see that.
They would have to protect her so much if she tried something like that.
Yeah, you got to have multiple.
I mean, because you got to think when Shane did it at WrestleMania, you could see there was some sort of airbag underneath that table. I mean, who cares? Because it was still a sick spot. But to do something like that, you got to make sure that she doesn't overcorrect or whatever and really hurt herself. So I'm just wondering where they're really going to go with this. I want to see something huge, but I don't want to see either of them break their necks trying to do it.
I agree. I am going to pick Sasha retaining the championship at this feud. I don't think it's time to give it up, and I think you can continue this.
They've already gone back and forth with it so far, so I think Sasha's got to hold on to the belt for a while.
Yep, so we both picking Sasha here. Alrighty. Another big feud is Roman Reigns versus Rusev, and there's been a big comparison between Rusev and Roman Reigns a lot I've seen lately on Twitter, and people saying, oh, Roman's better than Rusev. No, Rusev's better than Roman. Basically, they are very similar in character, but I think just Rusev's character is just really, really good. I think it's a little bit more evolved than Roman's is, personally. Nothing against Roman's, not hating on Roman, but I just love the way that I think they're about equal in the ring, but I think Rusev's mic work and facial expressions are just
he's a badass heel. They really truly made him into a badass heel because Roman's like kind of screwing around, messing with the whole thing with Lana with the wedding and all that kind of stuff. It's made Rusev even madder and madder, it seems, and now he's really becoming the badass that he should be. I mean, really, I think Roman, they're kind of still messing that up. He's got an opportunity to be a true badass, and they're still kind of doing the whole. He's kind of.
They want him to be face. It's just like what we said when we. I
mean, he can be a badass face, but it just seems that they always just kind of have him, be Mr. Cracking jokes, almost kind of like the John Cena does every once in a while, and instead of just being a straight badass and kicking everyone's ass. That's the way I think Roman should be, and they're just not really going with that, which they should.
I wish that they would do something. I do think that Rusev is going to not win the championship here. No. At all. So I'm going to mark that down as us both right now anyways with Roman. But what I would like to see after he doesn't win this weekend is he loses it. He can't handle it anymore. He's from wherever he is, and women aren't on an equal level as men. Where is he from right now? Where are they saying he's from? Where's he built out of?
The Bulgarian Bruce.
Bulgarian still? Yeah. Is if he puts his wife up for the title title versus wife.
They would never do anything like that.
That would be crazy.
That would be a little crazy, yeah. In this PG era, I don't think they ever do something like that.
But that's like, I would like to see, I think also something like that could also work with The Miz.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I would like to see something crazy like that. I mean, it's a little extreme, but this has been a good feud all in all.
I like it. They've had some good fights.
Yeah, it's been the feud that you haven't expected to be decent, and it's been really good. It's low-key, it's top 3 maybe feud. I'd say AJ and Dean.
AJ and Dean's really, and you still got, of course, The Miz and
so top
and
4.
Dolph.
It's probably 4th. It's top 5 easily out of all of them. T.J. Perkins takes on Brian Kendrick. Basically, on Monday night, he was begging TJ to just let him win.
Let him win, yeah.
Like,
that
we
was
used
weird.
to do everything for you, so let me win. This is my last chance. You're still young, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I don't get that, what he's trying to do.
He's just trying to make him feel, sorry for him, and something's going to happen probably at the pay-per-view where he's going to be like, this, let me have this, and then TJ will just kind of maybe break down and be like, maybe not so much okay, but he'll feel sorry for him. There'll be like a moment of weakness, and Kendrick will do something and win the belt. Something tells me that Kendrick's winning the belt on Sunday.
I think that TJ is going to keep the belt. So, let me mark the difference there. All right. I do think he's going to get down on the mat and beg and plead and all that stuff to try to get the belt. Mm-hmm. I don't know, dude. TJ Perkins is cool and all that, but I don't know how much better of a champion Brian Kendrick can be, I guess. And also all the stuff that he does with all the like gaming references, it's like sometimes it's a little much, bro. Like
especially what was he said on Monday? Something like
trying to respawn,
restart, like reset your life or something like that. And it's like, really, dude? I know he's got the whole gimmick when he comes out. He got the 8-bit thing going on.
Do it all the damn
that's
time.
Just like a little too much.
Yeah.
Especially since you can tell a lot of these promos are so scripted to the word. It's just it's a little bit lame. That's why I liked it better in the Attitude Era when these guys were shooting from the hip and all that kind of stuff.
Do you think this is the weekend the New Day drops the belt? Hold on 1 second while I ask Siri a question. Siri, how long has the New Day been champions for? Because... Damn, it's reading all these other words.
Checking. Here's what I found on the web for how long has the New Day been champions for because...
Alright, so now I can actually check it out. I will say if they're only... I don't know if they are the longest reigning champions.
Not yet. I think they have like 30 more days or something like that.
That's the thing. It's like, would they bring them this far and then have them drop it? Wednesday marks 332 days of the championship. And the longest reigning championship is how long? 360 or 70 something?
Like that. Demolition has the
so
record.
Do they drop it? Do they bring them this close to it and drop it?
I don't think so, because once again, another one of those things, it's right before the pay-per-view, and Cesaro and Sheamus had a match with them, non-title. Who wins it? Cesaro and Sheamus. So that makes me think, boom, New Day retains at the pay-per-view.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say they drop it.
Okay.
Everybody thinks they're going to do it, and it's not going to happen.
I think, you think that possibly that Sheamus and Cesaro are getting along this time around, and I think they're going to blow up the pay-per-view. They're going to end up, something's going to happen where they're going to end up fighting again.
Yeah, I do think there's going to be a huge fight, and I think when they're champions, it's still going to be similar to Kane and Bryan. I'm interested in that. What are they going to do with the New Day? They're there, so it's like, do you push them through? Because if they win this and then you go to Survivor Series, you're not giving up. There's no championship on the line at Survivor Series, so they win this weekend. They're basically...
They're going to hold on to it.
They're going to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm thinking they're holding on to it. There's no...
Why bring them this far?
Yeah, why bring them this far and hype all that stuff, hype it, and then not have it happen.
I'm still going with Cesaro and Sheamus because this is the team to shock you to drop it.
True.
This is the team to shock. Sounds funny. Enzo and Big Cass. Is it Enzo Amore, right?
Amore.
Like
when the moon hits your eye
right.
like a big pizza pie, that's amore.
Okay, that's what I always, for some reason when I say it, it just always feels like
Enzo
it's not right.
amore. Oh,
Enzo
Enzo
and Big
amore.
Cass, they taking on Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson again.
Should be a good match this time around, though. I like the singles match that Enzo and Anderson had on Raw, especially at the beginning of it, where they started Enzo and Big Cass started doing the shtick. Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, they cut off the mic, but Enzo just did it anyway, and the whole crowd was doing it along with him. So I thought that was pretty cool.
You picking Enzo and Big Cass? Or are you going?
I'm going to go Gallows and Anderson.
I think
they're really starting to push them again.
Yeah. They've done a lot of jobbing and stuff, so it is time to kind of build them up. If you want them to mean something, or unless you want them to be just glorified jobbers, then you continue to have them job out. But if you actually want them to mean something, going into 2017 and going into, the true build for WrestleMania season and all that, then right now is the time to do it, because the club is a great build, great, a great team, a great, starts with an F, what is it called? Fraction. Fraction. What the hell?
That's like what we learned in math class.
Fracking is what they do at the water. Fraction is what you do in math, and in WWE it's a faction.
Yes. Jesus.
Sometimes stuff is just so confusing. Even though they're all completely different, but anyways, they're like you want them on the bill because of all the international crowd, and you get all especially the Japanese crowd. That would be huge for them when they come over to see WrestleMania,
Yeah, I could see them, pushing Gallows and Anderson to finally win the tag team titles a little down the line, and then Enzo and Big Cass, they get their push by WrestleMania. That would, to me, make sense. The biggest stage and the most over tag team that you have right now, maybe next to the New Day, because both of them are pretty much equally over, have Enzo and Big Cass win it at the biggest show of the year.
If New Day dropped it to Enzo and Big Cass at WrestleMania, that'd be huge.
That would be. That
would be really, really big. Bayley versus Dana Brooke. This is the last one on the bill. Bayley's definitely winning.
I think Bayley's definitely going over.
There's no chance that they're giving it to Dana Brooke. She's going to mess up. How many botches does Dana Brooke have? That's the big question.
The one thing that kind of ticked me off, we kind of go back to Raw, when they had the arm wrestling match.
Oh, that was so bad.
I thought it was... It was something a little bit different, but the whole crowd going, "This is stupid," and then boring chants. It's like they're trying to do a little something different to, extend the story a little bit, and the people I can't stand that kind of stuff. Don't crap all over stuff when they're trying to extend a storyline.
I'm not a fan of anything really they've been doing, but I'm not going to talk crap about what they did on Monday night. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, and I wouldn't have been the biggest fan of it if it was guys doing it.
I mean, because it kind of made sense. Because
it definitely made
Bayley
sense.
had a hurt shoulder. Yeah. So what are you going to do? I want a rematch, but an arm wrestling match. It makes sense.
It's a heel doing what heels do. And she deserved to get booed. If anything, instead of chanting, "This is boring," you should have just booed her.
Yeah.
Like, that would have made the most sense in my eyes.
It just totally ticks me off when they do stuff like that. It made sense in the storyline status because her shoulder was hurt. She beats her the first time, so she's like, "Okay, let's try your strong arm." And then she almost wins, and then she gives her a sucker punch. It just extends the storyline, and it makes totally sense. Exactly. People just they want everything like this right now, and you can't do it like this. And so, shut up. Just shut up.
Granted, I would rather have seen Bayley wrestle, but having this happen is a less of a chance that Dana Brooke is going to botch something because she's messed up week after week after week after week after week after week after week. Then we're in NXT after week after week after week after week. She's never done it good. She always messes up. No shot at you, Dana Brooke, but you really mess up all the damn time. You got something there. You could be something, but you just mess up.
She's got the look. I mean, she definitely got the look.
Messes up way too much. So there's that for Raw and Hell in a Cell. That's going down this upcoming Sunday. Check up on that. Now we get into SmackDown. Break this down real quick. First things first, I want to say, because it's not on the sheet here, because it just was a whatever match, but I do like when R-Truth comes out rapping now that they got the words on the bottom of the screen, and you got...
and the Goldust head is doing the bounce.
I was like, that is awesome right there. I truly enjoyed that.
Funny.
I was like, oh, wow. Like, I already knew what he said anyways, but it was cool. It wasn't like he's mumbling. You can't understand him fully. Also, I do think Alexa Bliss is on her way to be the next AJ Lee.
You think so?
Yep. She's small, tiny like her. That's the comparison.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But that feistiness that she has, that's similar to what AJ had. And if she can find a way to really connect with the crowd, which I think she's doing, and she's doing a hell of a job with Becky Lynch right now, man, Alexa Bliss, my MVP this week.
Gotcha.
MVP past 2 weeks come from this one feud. She's done some great, like her promo cutting back on Becky Lynch on SmackDown, and she spray painted her with yellow back and all that. Like, it's crazy.
I will agree. I like where it's going. I mean, she's definitely putting this feud, giving it a lot more energy than what's the word I'm trying to look for? It's giving it that energy since Becky was out for a little while, and her promo's been spot on, and especially this one, like calling her yellow and then spray painting the whole back. It's been good. I like where she's going.
Now here's the thing. She wants to say like, oh, I'm never going to get this fight against you because you're always hurt. Well, one thing, Alexa, then stop attacking her, and then when she's down, spray painting her back yellow. Like, what the hell is going on?
Don't hurt her. Make sure she's good and ready for the fight. Yeah.
Pamper her the next couple of weeks to get her to the fight. All right, Alexa?
Exactly.
But I truly am enjoying what they got going on, and it really is good. And they did keep like the contact very minimal, and I think that's good to do right now.
Hype it up for the big title fight, yeah.
AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. This is picking up. Dean Ambrose needs to get you're being a little too jokey again. You need to start getting intense, and he kind of started to get intense toward the end of SmackDown. Ellsworth was trying to be on the side with Dean when he fought, he tried to get his number one contendership back. And then during their match, Ellsworth comes out.
Super kicks AJ.
No chin music. And all of a sudden the ref is like, you're disqualified. We're calling the match. It's over with. Dean Ambrose was just mad. They cut away to they went, the show ended. But I felt that Dean Ambrose should have attacked Ellsworth. Dean Ambrose needs to go at Ellsworth now and kick the crap out of him next SmackDown. Because if not, it's like, what is going on here?
Or are we going to see that, Ellsworth is kind of on the side of AJ Styles this whole time, and maybe that's where they're going
Two
with
swerves
this.
like that, even though the Randy Orton was like, well, if you can't beat him, join him, talking about Bray Wyatt.
Swerve, yeah. You never know. You never know. They get a little...
Or could Dean Ambrose or Ellsworth be mad now because he wasn't allowed to go out to the ring with them? Could that be the motive? Well,
he allowed him at the end. I mean, obviously that's why he was out there. So I don't know. They're using him in some way, shape, or form, and I don't know what it is. Yeah. But it almost feels like he's doing that just to kind of protect AJ Styles almost. I don't know. Just to make it major swerve. I don't know.
AJ Styles, though, best heel.
Oh, for
Other
sure.
than him and Miz are like pretty neck and neck, but AJ Styles is just really bringing it to another level right now, and I'm freaking loving it.
I love it.
Love it so much.
I never thought he was going to be that great of a heel, back in his TNA days and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
And I didn't even think he could cut that good of promos, honestly, 6 months ago. And I think he's improved a million. He's improved a lot more since the time he's been in the WWE with his mic work than I've improved with my mic work on this podcast. I'll tell you that's for sure. Bray Wyatt and Kane. Bray Wyatt defeated Kane in a no disqualification match out of nowhere. What's his name? Luke Harper comes out, and then Randy Orton comes down, and then Randy Orton RKO's Kane out of nowhere. And then at the end, toward the end of the episode, he says if he can't beat him, join him.
So could this be joining the Wyatt family, or is this going to be one of those things where, okay, it looks like he has joined them, and he double crosses them? Which I'm thinking, it's almost, this is definitely not an out of nowhere thing, because you can kind of see it coming.
Yeah.
If that's the way it's going to be, and he's got no, I think it's just going to be almost like a Daniel Bryan thing when Daniel Bryan joined him a few years back, where it looked like, okay, he's with them, and then he ends up, beating them all in from the inside. I think that's where they're definitely going with this.
I do too. Yeah. I don't think that I think eventually he's going to be like, I'm trying to play you guys and try to get you,
Yeah.
and this is his way to try to, you take him down from within.
Yeah, exactly.
A little spy in the organization. Still not the biggest fan of the feud, though.
Not really. I was kind of digging where it was going with some of the stuff that kind of Orton was kind of getting to the whole Bray Wyatt, mindset. But now it's just kind of like, okay, it's kind of stalled, and I need something. I mean, with this, might make it a little bit interesting, but like I said, it's not coming out of nowhere. You kind of see where they're going, that he'll probably join and then end up turning his back on him. So,
Nikki Bella defeated Natalya to be the team captain for the women at Survivor Series, but also she won, and now Natalya's not
going to be even part of that.
Yeah,
that
which
match.
is kind of weird.
Well, I kind of find it weird. I guess that makes me think that there's going to be a women's SmackDown Women's Title match at Survivor Series, because why wouldn't Becky Lynch, the champion, be the team captain? Because with the whole tag team match, they said that Heath Slater and Rhino were definitely going to be part of that Survivor Series team for the tag team one. So I'm guessing that Becky Lynch is going to have a match at Survivor Series, because that would make total sense that she would be the captain since she's the champion.
Okay, maybe Raw and SmackDown will each have one championship match on the.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Or the Raw one is the Goldberg Lesnar match, and then that's the Raw match on Survivor Series, and the SmackDown match is Women's Championship.
Could be.
You
might
I bet
have a few
you're
more
onto
matches.
something.
You got
right
the three elimination matches. You'll have the Goldberg match, and then you'll probably throw in a few other matches in there as well. So
I hope somebody from one of the brands calls out somebody else from another brand.
that would be cool.
I would like to see that happen. And lastly, on SmackDown, the tag team champions Heath Slater and Rhino defeat the Spirit Squad. I mean, if they lost to the Spirit Squad, that'd be dumb. But basically, The Miz is out in the ring, cutting his promo, mourning the death of the IC title
Again.
and all that stuff, and the Spirit Squad's with them. And then that's when Ziggler comes out and says, "Nah, bro, like you're crazy. Get out of here, Miz. You're a Looney Tune." And then, Rhino and basically saying, I'll give you a rematch now. And then Miz pulls the cards like, I'll take my rematch when I want to take my rematch. Like, you're not telling me to do it. And then he's like, oh, you want to fight? Well, then you can fight the Spirit Squad. And then that turned into Heath Slater and Rhino coming out, and then they talk a little blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh, you want to say you lost to a bunch of cheerleaders? And Rhino gets all mad, and he's like, oh, we'll take the match. And, of course, they won.
Of course they did.
If they dropped it to the Spirit Squad, that would have been sad.
I liked the banter between The Miz and Dolph Ziggler, because they were on commentary during the match. Still just keeping that feud going and just the fuel in the fire. I'm still digging this feud. I mean, you think, okay, so at some point, okay, this is getting old. It's still
both of
so
them
good.
need each other right now. They're boosting each other up.
They know how to push each other's buttons.
And hearing them going back and forth on commentary like that makes me think, like, in 10 years from now, imagine if Miz and Dolph are commentary for SmackDown or Raw.
I could definitely hear The Miz on commentary. I mean,
they would be great.
That'd be awesome.
The Miz would be amazing. He would be like
certain guys, they would be good for commentary down the road. Yeah, definitely Dolph would be a great one. Miz, he's just so good on the mic these days that he'd probably be the best. Because you always have some of these older guys, obviously past wrestlers, that become commentators. Jerry Lawler and Corey Graves.
Right.
I mean, even though he had to because of injury and stuff like that,
yeah.
he's definitely the best commentator
Right
out of
now.
everyone right now. He is just so, because you have him on Raw, plus you have him on NXT as well, and him and Tom Phillips going back and forth, hilarious stuff.
Tom Phillips is underrated.
He is. He's not so bad.
Another thing is, what's up with that? Like everybody on SmackDown forgetting it's WWE. Everything they say, WWE Championship, oh, and WWE Next, and WWE this, and I'm the WWE. It's like WWE.
I think they're saying the E, but they're saying it so fast you can't hear it.
Jeez, it's just like
WWE.
Drive me crazy a little bit. So pretty much that's this week in wrestling. Anything else you can think of? I mean, Paige and Del Rio still
that's been quiet, so not too much going on there.
I know she had successful surgery and all that stuff. Other than that, I can't. Some documents came out with Billy Corgan still in TNA, and basically he he was lied to by Dixie Carter. Surprise, surprise, about who she was getting money from to fund it, and about talks with WWE.
Yeah, but
and all
apparently
that
those
stuff.
talks with WWE never happened, and
Yeah.
she was totally lying about that, which doesn't surprise me. I mean, this company has been going for
Yeah.
a long, long time, especially since she grabbed a hold of it. Since, I mean, when it first started, it was Jeff Jarrett and I think Jerry Jarrett's company, and then once he started losing money, he got help from Dixie Carter and that company and all that stuff. And now since Dixie's had it, it keeps on. Especially since when Hogan and Bischoff started getting their hands in it too. She doesn't know anything about wrestling, I don't think.
No. Now, before you answer this, who's your MVP of the week? I already said my MVP of the week was Alexa Bliss, but once again, programming note before you answer that. Next week, show Friday. It will be out on Friday. Audio version early in the afternoon. Video will come out later on that night. Your MVP of the week.
I'm going to go Jericho. He saved Raw for me. He made Raw enjoyable because of his antics. As silly as it was, he wasn't going to be part of the match because his list was gone. He made that so entertaining, and so he made it enjoyable. I'll go with Jericho.
Hit that subscribe button, Scottplex City. You can search Scottplex City or Panks Podcast in the iTunes store or the podcast store, whatever the hell. It's the same damn thing with them, pretty much. But subscribe, give us a rating, comment, tell your friends about the show. Thank you very much for listening each and every single week. This is Scottplex City. Scotty B, how they get at you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm at ScottyB1976. You can find me on Instagram at ScottyBizzle76 and on Facebook at Scotty Blaine. That is Scotty with an I-E, not a Y.
Scott Radio's how you get at me. All the platforms, that's where I'm at. Oh, lastly, before we go out, the team up of Waka Flocka Flame and Ric Flair.
Woo!
Make America woo again. Yo, gold. It's gold. All right. So we'll just go out on a woo.
Woo!
Scottplex City.
Marks.
Scottplex City.
Marks.
Scottplex City.
Marks.
Scottplex City.
Marks.